Dear friends, welcome to another episode of Today in Military World. In this video, we will talk about the frequent and secret contacts maintained between Trump and Putin before and during the invasion of Ukraine, contacts that were only recently revealed in a book. But what do these contacts reveal about the true nature of the relationship between Trump and Putin? If you're not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any updates. On October 8, 2024, Bob Woodward, one of the most respected investigative journalists, released his new book titled War, which brought to light a dark aspect of international relations. According to the book, Trump kept frequent contact with Vladimir Putin after leaving office in 2021, including 7 conversations that had not been previously disclosed. It is important to highlight that these contacts took place during a very critical period. Trump was pressuring the Republican Party to block military aid to Ukraine, which was and still is in direct conflict with Russia. This raises questions about Trump's motivations and how these contacts might have influenced his political decisions. This revelation is particularly alarming, given the geopolitical context. A former president of the United States, without the approval of the current government, was maintaining private contacts with the leader of a nation considered an adversary. What are the implications for American diplomacy? To what extent could these contacts interfere with current U.S. foreign policies? Trump and Putin have a relationship that has been widely analyzed and debated since the 2016 presidential campaign. Trump was frequently accused of having an ambiguous position regarding Russia. One of the most controversial points was the Russian interference in the 2016 elections, when U.S. intelligence agencies concluded that Putin had orchestrated efforts to favor Trump over Hillary Clinton. An undeniable fact is that Trump, even after Russia's invasion of Ukraine in 2022, continued to praise Putin, even calling him a genius. This raises many concerns about how Trump, if he returns to power, would handle the continuation of this conflict. Trump has even suggested that, if elected, he could resolve the war within 24 hours, implying he would make concessions that would benefit Russia. Is Trump really acting pragmatically, believing that a close relationship with Putin is the best way to ensure world peace? Or is there a personal bias that compromises the U.S.'s stance toward a strategic adversary? One of the most intriguing points in the book is the revelation that in 2020, at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, Trump had sent advanced testing equipment to Putin. The most curious detail is that this shipment was made at Putin's request, who asked Trump to keep the gesture secret to avoid political criticism in the United States. During the pandemic, the U.S. faced a shortage of tests and medical supplies. For many, knowing that Trump sent equipment for Putin's personal use is, at the very least, questionable. This suggests a level of closeness that surpasses national interests and points to a highly personal relationship. It raises a crucial question. To what extent was Trump willing to sacrifice American resources during a global crisis to serve a foreign leader? And why did this relationship need to be kept secret? This is one of the many points that have not yet been fully clarified. This book was released at a crucial time, on the eve of the 2024 elections. The revelations about the continued conversations between Trump and Putin are already being used as ammunition by his political opponents. Vice President Kamala Harris, for example, quickly criticized Trump's closeness to Putin, highlighting the test kit shipment during a recent interview. It is important to remember that Russian interference in the 2016 elections is still an open wound in American politics. With the new allegations, concerns arise that Russian influence could again play a role in the 2024 elections, either through disinformation or other indirect methods. What are Trump's opponents' strategies to deal with these allegations? And to what extent could this influence American voters? Here, we can discuss the stance of other candidates, such as Ron DeSantis, who distanced himself from Trump on several occasions, or even Biden, whose diplomatic approach to Russia is much more cautious. During his first term, Trump frequently criticized NATO, even threatening to withdraw the US from the alliance. Now, he suggests that he would allow Russia to act freely against NATO countries that, according to him, do not invest enough in their defense. This would be a fatal blow to the transatlantic alliance and stability in Eastern Europe. If Trump returns to power, there could be a change in the American approach to the war in Ukraine. Trump suggested that he could quickly negotiate a peace agreement, but the terms of this agreement, according to his own Vice President J.D. Vance, would likely be very favorable to the Kremlin. What would be the impact of such an agreement on the balance of power in Europe and Russia's role in the global arena? A return of Trump to power could signal a realignment of U.S. foreign policy, possibly more isolationist and less committed to defending European allies. How could this affect Putin's geopolitical ambitions in Europe? The allegations made in the book not only reopen an old wound about the closeness between Trump and Putin, but also raise new concerns about how this relationship could shape the future of global politics. From secret COVID-19 test shipments to private negotiations during an ongoing war, there are many questions that remain unanswered. This increases fears in Europe, particularly in Ukraine, that a possible return of Trump to the White House could pave the way for Putin's victory in his invasion, encouraging the Russian leader to further accelerate his expansion plans into countries not directly aligned with NATO. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, subscribe now and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any updates.